Hello, here we are. We're live.
Hello.
Greetings, Janessa Jaye. Thank you for joining me again for some
Hello. Very
Barbie.
excited.
And for those wondering, we're a little bit later today because Janessa and I have been trying to sort this out for a while. And you had a very fabulous event this morning, so I wanted to coordinate with that. What was your event?
Yes, we had drag brunch and bingo, and it was Era's brunch because we had a Taylor Swift theme. And so we got to do a little Taylor Swift trivia. We played some bingo. We had a couple of performances from myself and from Micah. So we had a good time.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was good.
And you know, the kids love Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I enjoy her. She's not mine. Like, I'm a little old, I think, but I enjoy some of what she does. Shake It Off, especially. That's a great song.
Shake It Off. Love some Shake It Off. Hello.
Good morning. And Stanley, you are a channel member. So one, thank you for your membership, but let's properly greet the member.
Bring out the off! Bring out the off! Bring out the off!
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Oh, I never get tired of that.
Thank you, as always, Gal Gadot, for your... She was so easy to work
Yeah.
with in that scene. She gave it her all. Good morning, Andrew. Sorry, Andrew.
Hello.
Sorry, because Mint with Card, also a member, so again, we got to do it.
Bring out the off! Bring out the off! Bring out the off!
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
It took a while for her to get her elbow to turn back just so, and I'm going to tell you, she really worked that one. Good morning, Cute Cult. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Wow.
Hello, Nana Recipe. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Hello.
Well, it's afternoon, so good afternoon. I just usually do this in the morning. But as mentioned, Janessa had your fabulous drag brunch, and I support the arts, so
Yeah.
I was able to coordinate with that. We are doing some I'm going to switch the screen around really quick. All right, and we're doing some Barbie and the Rockers today. This is a 2-page spread, just for those wondering exactly what you're looking at. And it's Barbie, Diva, and Derek, and they're arriving on the video set with this old man. So it's a big picture, but we're going to just do the fun side today, probably. So, just if you're wondering what's going on, Barbie's like, oh, hooray, old man, ew. But I say that, but that guy is probably, let's look at him. You know, not to be rude to us, but he's probably younger than both of us, Janessa.
Yeah.
He's probably 32, 33. This again is 1986, so that's a solid 32 and 86.
Yeah.
It's more like 62 in 2026, but 40 years ago, that's what 30 looked like, guys. That's why we all freaked out in Gen X when we turned 30.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
I am doing some stuff from the Peaches and Cream book. So I was going to print out some Barbie and the Rockers too. And then I went to FedEx office that used to be Kinko's. And I don't know what was going on with their copier, but every single page took 3 to 5 minutes to print.
Oh
and so I printed 6, and that's all I could stand. And so I have this lovely...
Oh, that's I'm going to embiggen you really quick just so people can fully appreciate the peaches and creams of it.
Yeah,
that's
so there's that one. And then I have, because I sometimes color really fast, and so I printed out some extra. So we're going dancing at the store, at the dancing store. At the club is called Dancing. And then I have this one. And then, so those are the ones that I have for actual coloring. And these I printed out because they're ridiculous. Because everybody says that Barbie gives people like bad body image. And I think that that's probably true. But I think we have to blame the Peaches and Cream Barbie coloring book. Because first of all, what's that flat ass business? What is that pancake booty? Look at that.
What is the hem on the back of it? Like right down the middle.
That's what proportion is that?
No.
What is happening there? And then this like crazy long torsoed monster. Look at that.
She's
Like
gonna
her,
put on a record and paint.
yeah, or she's painting the record. We don't know. Look at and like what is happening? No boobs. No, like what is this scarecrow before us? And
Well,
here she is.
that's
Then when she bends, she's all weird looking. It's weird.
bend and snap.
Yeah,
Um, well, that's what's funny about to me a lot of the Barbie coloring books is that she has no boobs in them, but the doll herself was very infamously booby. So like,
yeah,
it's always odd. It's fun, because I'll sometimes when I'm coloring the pages, I will add the boob shadows and the suggestion of the boobs, and they're
yeah.
just like,
She's got
what's
some big
going
old
on?
bitties.
And the guy who did the art on this, like he did, there are a couple artists who did the Barbie coloring books. But the one who did this Barbie and the Rockers also did a Gem coloring book and also did a couple Shira coloring books. And it's like
Oh,
Shira and Friends had boobs and Gem sort of had boobs, but he draws Barbie very flat. And it's always very odd to me that Barbie is so
yeah,
flat because flat is the last thing you would think of when you think of Barbie. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And I got some markers at Five Below. That's where I shop for my art supplies.
Well, they
And
have
I don't
this.
I don't know if I can do skin tone and a peach dress. So she's gonna have a green dress.
There you go. Well, Peaches, the particular shade of peach that she had is way more orangey than actual peach.
Yeah.
Uh, 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 uh. Paintbrush
Peaches and cream is a
exact.
favorite.
This is a good point, Q Coat. It could be a cigarette holder. Oh,
Yeah.
hello, CJ. Lovely to see you. And as a channel member, we need to torture Andrew again.
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
I just never get tired of it. Never
Yeah.
get tired of it. It's like the guy on Instagram and TikTok who does Gal Gadot. And he just cracks. He's so good at it. And apparently, like, one of her associates reached out to him and like, you need to stop bullying Gal Gadot. And it's like, he's making fun of her acting. That's not bullying. Like, she is mega rich, famous. She's gorgeous. Some guy making fun of her bad acting is not bullying. Bullying would be like, you're fat, you're ugly, you're unattractive.
Yeah.
You deserve this and that. And it's like, if girl can't handle being a celebrity, because he's not at all making fun of how she looks or like her body type or whatever. He's just making fun of her acting. And the rule of thumb is it's not bullying if you make fun of something that you can improve.
Yeah.
It's like in college, my friend was like, why do you call her Slutty Pam? And I'm like, because it would be rude to call her Ugly Pam. She can't help that.
Yes. Oh. I never saw it. Like for some reason I always liked Gal Gadot and then once people started pointing out like how wooden she is, now I can't unsee it.
Well, for me, I enjoy, like in Fast and the Furious, I enjoyed her. But also those movies in general, like it's hard to be picked out as the worst actor in a Fast and the Furious movie,
Yeah.
right? And you don't go for those for the acting. You don't pay attention to those for the acting. You go,
Exactly.
if stuff blows up, it's the big screen. If you have the right TV, they're enjoyable at home. Um, and then the first Wonder Woman, like the sort of the woodenness that, sort of the stiff line delivery made sense for the character, right? Because
Yeah.
she's a stranger in a strange land. Everything's new. She's mostly just reacting and bouncing bullets and kicking the God of
Yeah.
War's ass, right? And she, in that movie, like I still find the first Wonder Woman, and I watched it last night before bed. I put it in. It also is partly we finally set up the TV and the Blu-ray player in the living room, so like it's like let's try it out. Let's watch Gal Gadot. and a good performance. I went and saw Death. I love Agatha Christie because I was that nerd in high school. Where I found the entire like 2 aisles of her books in the library at school. So I went and saw, and I liked the first Kenneth Branagh
Oh
Agatha
yeah.
Christie adaptation. So I went and saw Death in the Nile, and I was like, oh, Gal Gadot is in this, which is where, of course, the champagne to fill the Nile comes from. And I will say that was when I realized, oh, she's not very good.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, and I was like, well, maybe it's just because this is more comedic. Um, because not everyone can do comedy. Comedy is a specific kind of acting. And I
Yeah.
don't think people get that. It's not just like, oh, you're funny, you should be a comedian. There's like delivery, there's a whole last thing. It's a performance, right? Anyone can tell jokes, not everyone can do comedy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, maybe it's just because it's far more comedic, and then Justice League, and I'm like, okay, but this one has been filmed and refilmed and like stitched together, so maybe like they just didn't get the good takes. And Wonder Woman 84, I was like, and then I watched on Netflix, I think it was called Red, and it was like her and like 2 or 3 other very attractive people. And I was just like, she's just not and that movie was terrible. I forget who the 2 men in it were. They were also equally bad.
Oh no.
And they were very attractive men. I can't remember now. But it was during that when I'm like, oh, she's just not very good. Because
Yeah.
it's more noticeable when everyone around you is also a terrible actor.
Yeah.
And the material's bad, and because a good actor or actress can save. Well, I mean, you can't save like bad, but you can at least make it watchable. And I was like, okay, she's just not a very good actress.
Hello, no.
And then after it all clicked, everything, especially Wonder Woman 84, especially Death in the Nile, just became elevated in how
Yep.
horrific. But in a good way. I mean, it's funny, like it's campy.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
She needs to actually, I think, lean into it if she wants a future career, because I saw this, and the Snow White is what killed it.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that. I didn't watch the whole thing.
I was just like, this is not for you, my girl. But she's rich and successful and gorgeous, and she's happily having babies or something, so she'll be fine. Like, the residuals from that first Wonder Woman movie will carry her for a long time. So
Exactly.
And she'll get hired for other stuff. I mean, Betsy Palmer, Friday the 13th, her career was finger quote over, and then she went into this little horror movie. Of course, she didn't get paid for that very much, but it'll be different in 20 to 30 years when all of the big celebrities have to do bit parts in trashy horror movies to make their SAG insurance premium.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Yes. Thank you, Mint with Card. The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, both of whom are very attractive men.
Oh, yeah.
I think The Rock is very limited in his acting abilities. No shade to The Rock. He tends to be really good about knowing his limitations and working within them. And then Ryan Reynolds is better in comedy than he is in drama. So, yeah. She's great in the first Wonder Woman movie, Stanley. I will argue with her biggest hater that first movie, and that's why we never see that quoted. We never see that first movie, and any of the times we make fun of her acting, it's never the first Wonder Woman movie. It's Kal-El No, which was what, Justice League?
Yeah. Kal-El No.
That's those, and Wonder Woman 84. So yeah. And hello, Tony Sfigs. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in, my good friend. Tony was here a few weeks ago, and we'd colored some DC Comics. He's one of my favorite go-to. Yes, thank you, Stanley. The whole Snow White movie was bad. But that's also a movie where it's like, if she had really been a little bit better, she could have made that movie camp. And I still, my uncle would come home from Manhattan and he's like, we need to watch these things. And like, so that's how I watched Mommy Dearest as a child. That's how I watched Valley of the Dolls. Like, there's an art to a good trashy movie. And
Yeah.
that Snow White could have been a good trashy movie with, it's like she didn't even get into it. Like, Faye Dunaway gets into it on Mommy Dearest. Um, Patty Duke in Valley of the Dolls just acts her heart out. I still sometimes, when I'm getting ready for parties, will look in the mirror and go, "Sparkle, Neely, sparkle." Anyway.
Every time I watch it, I have weird gym flashbacks because before I ever saw it, I read the book. And I read it. I belonged to this really terrible gym, and it was like a really terrible time in my life. And so whenever I'm watching it, I have flashbacks to sitting on the elliptical in that gym reading Valley of the Dolls.
I came to Valley of the Dolls via the Manson family, of course, the Sharon Tate of it all. Because that was what I did my senior year in high school. We had to do a really comprehensive research paper. So I was like, let's do a report this year. Since last year I did the Zodiac Killer, let's do the Manson family. 1992 me is radically different from 2026 me. I'm just a bit more open about being weird. So because of that, I, read Helter Skelter. I read a bunch of Manson stuff. And of course, Sharon Tate. And at that point, her most famous role was Valley of the Dolls. So we went and rented it. And then, but my mom was like, before you, and she had the book because every woman of my mom's generation had Valley of the Dolls, Peyton Place, and Flowers in the Attic. And most of us stole all of those. I stole Flowers in the Attic in 8th grade from my mom's shelves because V.C. Andrews, yes.
Yes.
I think every child of the 80s who read V.C. Andrews, we all got mad that our brothers were not hot enough for us to consider Flowers in the Attic.
Yeah.
I think that's something that happened to everyone in 8th grade when they read that book. But then I read Valley of the, and it was during the summer. It was super hot. We were driving from Louisiana to Texas to see my grandparents. And I was getting dropped off for I used to get shuttled off to each set of grandparents for like 2 weeks. So my mom got 4 weeks without us up until I graduated high school. And then it was like, oh no, you are not killing my social life anymore. I'm 18.
Yeah.
I can bars now. Because at the time in Louisiana, 18 was the legal drinking age.
Oh.
They upped it to 21 3 weeks after my 21st birthday. Don't ever let it be said the universe doesn't look out for me.
That's right.
But so I read Valley in the we were still in the terrible old station wagon and driving, and we were in Houston, and I'm sitting in the car reading Valley of the Dolls at like 16 or 17. And
I still can't believe. I mean, I think I was in like 6th grade when I read Flowers in the Attic, and I'm just like, who was running around letting all these kids read this incesty, creepy book? Like,
I don't know that I remember my mom had it. She had all of the Darling, Flowers in the Attic, Petals on the Wind, If There Be Thorns, Seeds of Yesteryear. She had all 4 of those, and she had My Sweet Audrina. And then when Heaven came out, she didn't buy Heaven. And it was the summer between 7th grade and 8th grade. I went and stole Flowers in the Attic. And it was because I saw Deadly Friend with Christy Swanson. And I just stopped wanting to be Phoebe Cates. And I'm like, I wish I could be Christy Swanson. Not so much today. But back then, Deadly Friend, she was in Nightingales, which is a TV series pilot by Aaron Spelling about student nurses, which featured in the pilot movie Britta Phillips as a nurse a nursing student who sang. Anyway, so I was like, Christy Swanson, she's going to do the Flowers in the Attic movie. So I stole it from my mom's bookshelf and read it. in a weekend at most. And then Petals on the Wind, I cycled through all of them, and then made her take me to the used bookstore during back to school shopping, and I got Heaven, and I think Dark Angel was out.
Oh yeah.
And then like 2 weeks later, Garden of Shadows, the like prequel with the evil grandmother from Flowers in the Attic came out.
Yeah.
And then of course My Sweet Audrina was in there. And you know, just within like a month, I read like 17 every VC Andrews books that had been released. And then the movie came out. My mom and I went to that. My brother and my dad went and saw some man movie. And when we were leaving, she was like, that was. She stopped and it was like, you know, how your mom is like, should we have this conversation? She's like, in the book, the brother and sister were a couple, right? I'm like, she's like, I'm not remembering that wrong, am I? She's like, it's been a few years since I read them. I'm like, no. She's like, and they just cut that out of the movie. I'm like, yeah, they kind of did, didn't they? She's like, yeah. And we just sort of both sat there like, I think, you know, I was like, what, 13 or 14, and my mom was like 15 years older than me. So like almost 30. Having that like, that weird realization that like the movie was worse because the incest had been removed.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Oh
my goodness. Anyway, I should check in with chat. Hello, Leia Glacia. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
wow.
Stanley, you know what? The books were good. It's hard to recommend them though, because I don't know if they've aged well. You know what I mean? Like there's some books where you can recommend them for 30 years and like it's good. And then there are others where you're like, ooh, maybe not. And I've not it's been about 20 years since I should do that this year. I'm gonna reread Flowers in the Attic as an old person, and I will get back to you, Stanley, with whether or not it's safe to read it now. Maybe not. Exactly, CJ. For all of my mother's faults and all of the grudges I do still carry, you know, she wasn't all bad. She had her moments.
Yeah, I retrieved all of my VC Andrews one of the last times that I was home visiting my mom. So I'm gonna have I've been rereading a lot of like Fear Street and Christopher Pike, and
I love Christopher Pike.
so I think I'm gonna have to try to reread Flowers in the Attic.
If all goes well, next year I'll be launching a second channel called Gen X Book Club. So
I love that.
And we're gonna reread, me and various guests, obviously you, but we would reread Christopher Pike, Fear Street, well, just R.L. Stine, young adult horror in general, Stephen King, V.C. Andrews, Shirley Conrad, who wrote a book called Lace, which later went on to become a movie starring Phoebe Cates, which may be relevant at the end of the stream, guys. Yeah, like, so anyway, once I get some finalization on the plans for the Gen X Book Club channel, I'll reach out, because Valley of the Dolls, all of that stuff. But I don't want a bunch of freaking millennials. They've got Book Talk. They can go be triggered by our books on Book Talk, and we'll have our little Gen X Book Club channel where we get to enjoy all of our problematic old books. So
exactly.
Anyway, guys, today Janessa and I are just gonna be old people.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Mint with Card saw the movie, then read the book.
Yeah, that's an awakening. That's.
Oh yeah, you definitely will be. I definitely Mint with Card. You are on my list for the Gen X Book Club. Oh, see, if you've already read them, you should be good. Reread Flowers in the Attic. Anything before anything Dollenganger or Heaven, the Heaven series, and My Sweet Audrina. Those are all the ones that either she wrote herself or she had finished before she died. Everything after the end of the Heaven series is completely made up by some guy named Andrew Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer is this guy who, under his own name, writes hard-boiled detective fiction. So, if you've ever wondered in some of the later 90s V.C. Andrews books why women have swelling bosoms, there's your answer.
Yeah.
There's a
Well,
detective
and it was
guy.
so formulaic. Like they just recreated the books over and over again, where it was always like hidden incest. Like they didn't know they were related, and they liked each other, and then they find out that they're related, so she doesn't want to pursue it, but then
And
he
he
like
always
attacks her.
does. And then there's forcible things that happen. And then
Yes.
there's a baby, and it's all so 80s is the thing. Like 70s
Yeah.
and 80s. Like this is what we read. And again, like it's fun, like a few years ago when my niece hit like 15 or 16, she was asking for like movie recommendations. And I went through, and I'm like, I can't recommend 16 Candles, right? I love 16 Candles. It's a great movie, but like 16 Candles, you have to have a conversation about, like
Yeah.
during the movie. You have to stop and explain to kids, well, this is what it's like. It was not okay that it was like this, but this is just what we lived in. This is a
Oh,
time, this is a snapshot of our lives. This doesn't mean it's okay.
yeah.
But we also can't go back and arrest all of the people from our childhood. Like, it's just not how it works, guys. We didn't know better. And now we do. So this is, it's like when David Attenborough goes to like some far-flung country to document the animals. That's what it's like when you watch our movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
You're on an expedition to learn about faraway cultures. And so yeah. But I was like, no, not 16 Candles. And then like Breakfast Club is kind of in places not okay. I'm like, but mostly okay. So like Breakfast Club should be fine. And then
Yeah.
somebody reminded me of the scene where he's under the desk and he bites her underwear. And I'm like, ooh. I'm like, but it's just the one scene, and she gets mad at him. So like she clearly makes it clear that it's not okay. So we're fine.
Yeah.
No weird science. Can't do Revenge of the Nerds. So it was difficult. I was finally just like, like find your own movies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be the one where my brother calls me like, why did you recommend these movies?
Yeah. I don't want to be blamed for this.
I need to be the cool aunt, and that's not how I'm going to be the cool aunt. So, ooh, I have not ever read any of the Fourth Wing books. I should put that on my list of things to purchase. Since we're kind of talking books, I had to pick up a prescription, and our drugstore, because we're in a small town, still has a newsstand in it. And they had 20% off this book by Riley Sager, the only one left. So I bought it. Because one of my friends from back home from high school, and we like the same kind of horror movies and horror books, she said it was pretty good. And I had just finished, not realizing it was the same author, an audiobook by him that was pretty, The House Across the Lake. That was pretty decent. So audiobooks can be hit or miss, though, because it depends on the narrator.
Yeah.
So this was a good book when it's an audiobook is a little bit different criteria than when it's like if the actor is engaging, I can overlook some plot point holes and stuff. But I don't know. But also, my friend said he writes like Stephen King meets Christopher Pike, but not as boring as Dean Koontz. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I look for in a book. We're good.
I'd forgotten how horny the Christopher Pike books are. Like those
Oh my God.
teenagers, they be fucking. Like they be fucking.
They do,
It's
and not only
crazy.
that, but like, they betray each other to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I technically didn't because for a while, like I wrote a lot of young adult horror fiction inspired by Christopher Pike, and have worked and reworked a few of my novels so that they're not Christopher Pike ripoffs. And so I've been always aware of how horny Christopher Pike, but that's why well, no, I was a kid. Um, but like my first Christopher Pike book was like Walden Books' Slumber Party, his first real horror book. So I read them as they came out. So it was this progression. But even with Slumber Party, when I first read it, I'm like, nobody really died. And then the second book, I'm like, nobody really died. And then the third book, nobody really died. And so then in the fourth book, Last Act, when like there was actual death, I was like, oh. And then all of a sudden, all the kids are horny and like, and this hit right when I'm turning 13 and 14. So like as a 13 and 14-year-old, suddenly boys are way more interesting. They don't just smell like sweat and yuckiness. I mean, they still do, but you're then like, but maybe I like that.
Yeah.
He smells weird. It's okay though, right?
And I like it.
Let me have another shot of that peppermint schnapps, friend. And then let's go to reading class. No, you never did peppermint schnapps before class. It was vodka. You got like a good swig of vodka before you went to reading class. At least I did. Me and Tiffany. Yeah. Anyway, let's not talk about my Gen X high school days, that specifically. Anyway, hello, Andrew, and welcome to my Mannequin's a great movie, but I haven't watched that one in forever. I wonder how that one is aged.
There's so many things that I wasn't aware of Kim Cattrall, and then I go back to them, and I'm like, oh, that was Kim Cattrall who was in that. And Mannequin was one of those.
Porky, the first Porky's movie, she's in that. She's Lassie.
Yeah.
The first Police Academy movie, she's the love interest. Trying to think what else. Then Mannequin. Mannequin's the first one though where she's like Kim Cattrall. Like before that, she's still got mostly the brown hair, and she's very.
Yeah.
It's like it's with Mannequin where like the persona of Kim Cattrall, where she's like fun and snappy and quippy, and like it was with Mannequin that started happening.
Yeah.
Which one is Dark Tower 4, CJ? Is that Wizards and Glass? If it's Wizards and Glass, that's where I got stuck as well in 1999-ish. And it wasn't until the he started releasing the last couple of ones. Like the summer before the final part 7 came out, I sat down and read through all of them. I recommend pushing through it, CJ, because Wizards and Glass is overall important to the narrative. It is a little dull and dry, but push through it because the next one is 5, and that's where the werewolves are.
Yeah. I love the Dark Tower. I'm such a fan.
But as did I, and as I still, I'm gonna probably reread that soonish. But I also got stuck in Wizards and Glass. It felt tedious, but push through it because you need that story arc of Roland for it to all come together at the end. So push through. But once you get to part 5, part 6, part 7, I read those all in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and when I recommend it to people, that's what I tell them, is because to me, Roland is the least interesting part of that. I'm
Yeah.
all about the like other characters that he like gathers around him. And so a lot of people, they'll start reading the first one and they'll be like, I'm not sure if this is for me. And I tell them, keep going, because once you get to part two and he starts pulling people in, I was like,
Yeah.
that's going to be much more interesting. And I was like,
Yeah.
and when you get to part four, that's going to be a tough one, because again, we're moving away from these new people who are more interesting. And the people who are around him in that story are less interesting, but I was like, if you can get through book one and if you can push through book four, the overall experience is good. But yeah, those are the two sticking points for a lot of people.
But I think, yeah, and it would be a lot easier to say, we'll just skip it. But really, once I got to the end of the book, that last bit of book 7,
Yeah.
that devastating, that devastating but absolutely appropriate and perfect ending.
Yeah.
Like, then everything in part 1, everything in part 4 that was tedious and like difficult, it's like, oh, but it's perfect, because that moment doesn't mean as much at the end if you hadn't made it through part 1 and part 4. And it's one of
Yeah.
the few times I would say you need to suffer for Stephen King's art. But in this case, you kind of need to suffer a little bit through those two to because the ending, it's one of Stephen King, sometimes his endings don't land. Sometimes
Yeah.
it feels like he just ran out of story and he just ends it. And The Dark Tower is not one of those. It feels there are a few parts in part 7 where I'm like, he even addresses it in the book, where it's like, I read Insomnia for this.
Yeah.
Because Insomnia was difficult as a book to get through. I will say that. But I will say overall, I feel like I hated part 4, getting through it. It was so hard. And then whenever I got to the end, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I finished that. Also, the comic adaptations of part 4, they actually adapt the story at one point, Marvel did. But they also tell some original stories from that same time period. And the
Oh, nice.
comics are really good. The comics are actually, they have really good art. Like you can. So, Stephen King doesn't write those. I think, and I hope this isn't controversial, but I think sometimes the reason Roland is so boring is Roland is so much of a self-insert
Yeah.
that Stephen King doesn't necessarily always know what to do with them because it's so not Stephen King, that character. So,
Yeah.
just my thoughts. And I'm
I
welcome to be wrong.
I just have trouble with Stephen King where like I love the premise. Like I always love the idea of it. And there's some like and then I feel like at some point, especially on the ones that turn into like creature features, I feel like at some point he like shits the bed. And it's like
Yeah.
I was so invested in the idea of the story that then I like force myself to keep reading and just get more and more frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. What I have sort of in retrospect, after I haven't read any of his new stuff since the end of The Dark Tower, except one or two of the story collections, and then Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep, in my opinion, was probably where he should have ended. Um,
Yeah.
all right, I've done it all. I'm good. Bye. But at the same time, I buy all the books, and one day I will sit and this was the other part of what happened when I bought that Riley Sager for 20% off. They had a Stephen King I don't have yet. So I can't stop, you guys. It's a problem. But I feel like after The Dark Tower, most of the stuff he's written has felt like, I don't want to say he doesn't care about it, but because it's not sort of necessarily his bigger, before The Dark Tower, everything was part of this grand tapestry he was weaving. And then
Yeah.
after The Dark Tower, it's over. So everything is sort of new and not connected, which can be exciting because it means, like it's not necessarily going to suddenly in chapter 17, like, oh, it's part of The Dark Tower. So it's liberating for him, and it feels like he has more fun writing sometimes in the newer stuff that I've read. But also, I feel like his first, like Carrie, The Shining, Salem's Lot, The Dead Zone, Firestarter, Cujo, 3 of the 4 different season stories, Christine, Pet Cemetery, and It all feel like really cohesive. Like he really, you know,
Yeah.
like he was in, and then after it feels like that's also though when his drug addiction got really bad, and it's like, oh, Lord, it shows with Tommy Knockers.
Yeah.
It was a difficult book to get through. So like he's a popular author, and many of us enjoy his work. He's not necessarily a good writer. He's a good storyteller. And I think 100 years from now, people will remember this first 7 to 10 novels he wrote, and most of the rest of it will be not lost media, but it just won't get the sort of the looking at that we give his
Yeah.
other. And that's okay. I mean, like still, like 7, he's had a tremendous career. Most writers will never have anything like that. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, and he's got like his things that he always goes back to. And so
Yeah.
like there's usually most people I feel like have like a favorite type of Stephen King that they love, because he's got his like vampire stuff, and he does his aliens, and he does, I really like, and they're never the most popular, but I always like the ghost stories. I think he actually does. I think his ghost stories are really underrated. Like Duma Key is one of my favorites.
I have not read that one yet.
Oh, I really liked it, and I loved Bag of Bones, and so I love those more like ghosty type ones.
Yeah. I really liked Gerald's Game.
Yeah.
Um like that one, just to me, it's really tight. It's really concise. And I know that sounds weird considering, but it's Stephen King, and it feels way more controlled than a lot of his stuff of that era did. Same with Dolores. And the two of them are like sort of reflection stories. So let's see. All right, let's see. And Andrew is going to boycott Wizards and Glass. That's fine.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah, you do need to separate J.K. Rowling from, well, I don't know. Like, I just, in general, F J.K. Rowling. I never liked Harry Potter. This sounds really bitchy and elitist and classist, but when her books came out of that little wizard story stuff she writes, I was in my late 20s, and my friend was like, you should read these. They're really good. I'm like, this is made for children. She's like, but they're really good. I'm like, I don't read, as I'm rereading Christopher Pike. I'm like, I don't really read. But yeah. Yeah, Peter David, R.I.P. Peter David.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I mean, I read Harry Potter because I was working at a bookstore. I was working at a Walden Books when those came out, and I thought they were okay. I did sort of side eye things like Cho Chang and like some of the names and some of the things.
The hints were there.
Yeah, but I was like, I was never waiting for my letters for Hogwarts because I was too old. And so while I enjoyed them, I never had that same pull the way that some people do that like read it as a kid.
Yeah, and that's what makes it difficult. Like there are people that, are completely not asshats like she is, that, like those stories because of what they meant to them as kids. So like it's not, like I don't, they just were never for me. And I will say I did get annoyed when like grown adults would, and this again could be elitist, but when they were like, I finished reading all of the Harry Potter books. I'm like, I read a book. It's like, it's made for kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. And what are you going to read next? So I'm not. I'm like, that's not the point of reading. Like,
Yeah.
some more books. Go find some stuff you like. There's this new series coming out called Game of Thrones. I'm sure you'll love it.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh.
I'm going to say if you are detoxing, and Stephen King was both in the worst of his cocaine addiction during the writing of that, and it was during that book Tabitha did the intervention. So it was both him high as a kite, but also in the process. So I feel like maybe you were vibing with something me at 13 was not vibing with. So
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree a little bit here, Andrew. I think he's been marketed like Daniel Steele, but as somebody who read 5 books by Daniel Steele that were all terrible, I'm going to disagree because Stephen King is at least readable, and like he's trying to do something more than just sell some trashy, stupid books. Well, yeah, no, but we don't. We don't have problems because George Lucas borrowed from Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers. That movie was rewritten by all of his friends. The edit of the first movie was Marshall Lucas. The sequel, Empire Strikes Back, was directed by Irving Kershner, who had a lot of input into it. Huge staff of artists and creators who helped him make all of the Star Wars movies. So technically, no. Because he's not the end-all be-all of Star Wars. Yeah, and when people are like, well, the reason they suck now is because of Lucas, it's like, sir, we've all seen the prequels, and those are fine. We enjoy them, but we are not going to pretend that they are high art.
Exactly.
I'm not going to pretend you guys didn't all hate them and think he should have gotten removed. I remember early internet people complaining about the prequels, being like, he needs to get Irving Kershner to come back. Like, the problem is he's directing and writing and making all of these things. And now, the problem is he's not writing and editing. Like, guys, come on.
Yeah. So maybe
is,
it's just on my brain because I'm watching my way through the series right now, but I tried a different color for this Barbie hair.
ooh.
And she's Blair from The Facts of Life. She's Blair. That orange blonde hair. Oh my God. Blair I was so enamored with Blair as a kid. And now the like lesbian overtones with her and Joe, I just can't not see it. It's so good.
Oh, they were always there. It was always like, I was always surprised whenever Joe ended up with the boy back in the day. I was like, are we sure about that?
I was young and innocent. I didn't understand what I was watching. And now I look back and I'm like, they are lesbians.
And it's totally like the Sam and Diane from Cheers sort of dynamic with them.
Yeah.
They're always bickering. If one of them today, if they made that, they would end up together at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And that would be How I Met Your Mother Part 2. But for me, Facts of Life, it was always Trudy. She was always my favorite.
Oh, I loved Blair and I loved her look, but I was definitely a Natalie girl.
Natalie she's hilarious too. She's got a well, she hasn't done a new episode in a while. The old episodes are here on YouTube. But Mindy Cohen, she's hilarious. Very candid too. So
yeah.
And she's on Threads, and she's hilarious. So, and she's one of those people where it's like when they're like, some of our old celebrities are terrible now, and it's like Mindy Cohen is not. But no, that is a very Blair-coded hair.
Yeah.
You've missed
some
stuff. Bridge to Terabithia. I read both of those in 6th grade.
Oh, yeah.
We're good.
Was The Stand.
I read that right after I graduated high school. That was my summer book. I had a my great grandmother died the night I graduated high school, so like there was this endless, and there were like we had to go to one funeral, then we had to go to the other funeral because it's the South. She was from all kinds of places. So there were like 2 or 3 funerals. There was a family reunion. So there was like 4 weeks right after I graduated high school where we were in a car, and in it I read the 1,139-page unabridged version of The Stand. So I used to reread that every 5 years. And my last every 5 year reread was during the middle of lockdown, and I got like 5, 6 pages in, and I'm like, we're gonna skip this reread.
Yeah,
This
not
not
the
the year,
time.
not the year for The Stand.
Yeah.
So I should reread that next year. I never had a hard time with that. That book for me was it's very readable. Yeah, see, The Talisman with Peter Straub, I've still never finished. Which I'm gonna correct because they're actually doing a movie of it soonish, and then Stephen King's gonna release the last part of that movie soon. I mean the book. He's gonna finish it with him and Peter Straub's notes because Peter Straub recently passed. So
Yeah. I think that Stephen King is better when he has an editor. So all of these, like putting it out with all the stuff that was removed, that shit was removed for a reason. Like, not everything needs to be 5,000 pages.
I think the
Oh,
problem is I reread The Stand after the original like 700, 800 page version. I reread it after I read the extended version one. And for The Stand, it needed to be that long, I think. But I think that's the problem. The Stand was one of his few books that needed to be that long. And what the publishing houses did, instead of saying, oh, well, he needs a good editor. Yeah, and the main reason they edited The Stand down to like 800 pages was not because the only reason they cut it was they couldn't afford to publish it. Because he still wasn't Stephen King when it was time to publish the original Stand. So because of the cost, they're like, well, you need to cut like 400 pages. So all he put back with that was what he only cut so that they can make the book smaller to afford it. But in general, yes. But I think the takeaway people and publishing took from The Stand was, oh, people want to read lots and lots of Stephen King. And his editors were just like, all right, we'll check for grammar, but otherwise you're good. And I think
yeah.
it's the opposite. I think something like The Stand, complete and uncut and unabridged, is rare. There are very few books that need to be that long.
Yeah. Because he put a bunch of stuff back into the Gunslinger, and that did not need it. None of the stuff that was added back in added much to the story. Like, it
Yeah,
didn't need to be there.
it didn't make the Gunslinger easier to read.
Yeah.
Because I've read both versions of the Gunslinger, and I'm like, I don't know that we needed the extra bits.
Yeah.
Sometimes Stephen King did a I think it was a forward and maybe Skeleton Crew. And when he writes short stories for like magazines or whatever, he technically finger quote loses money based on what his normal page rate is. But if he puts it into a book or a collection, he makes more money on it. So my understanding is one of the things he does to help sort of small publishers who are, like trying to do literary magazines or like anthology series that approach him, he'll basically do a short story or whatever, and he gives them an affordable a rate that they can afford, and then he just sticks it in a collection later where he'll make what he would normally make off of it. And I think the Gunslinger, the stuff they added into it, I think was from short stories he had published elsewhere in a situation like that. So it doesn't improve it, but at least you know, like to me, it seems like he's doing it for, it's coming from a place of this is how we make it work so that I can help the little guys out, which is cool. Like he's fairly, you know, civic minded. He's not quite as philanthropic as Dolly Parton was, but
Yeah.
he's, you know, he gives a lot of money to various charities and he's put a lot back into his hometown of Bangor, Maine. So again, he's no Dolly, but he at least he's a benevolent billionaire. I'm actually reading one of his son's books right now, which is kind of like reading Stephen King. It's one of his earlier books, though. My understanding is as he got farther along, he became less like his dad in his writing. But it's really interesting. It feels like reading like 1970s Stephen King, just sort of in the way he's telling the story.
Oh.
It's got like a Stephen King man in it, where it's like the man is horrible to everyone in his life and horrible to women, and but then the story is all about him being humbled through like a curse. So it's pretty good so far. I don't have as much reading time as I would like, so it takes longer to finish books. Books, bitch. All right.
Yeah.
That'll be the theme song for Gen X book club. Books, bitch. Let's see. Buck Rogers entered. Yeah, parts of him did. So. She did. George Clooney's first big acting gig was as Joe's boyfriend on The Facts of Life. Well, hello. Oh, it's true. Even though Derek Hoover is here through the Yesterday's account and not his private account, he
Bring
is
out
a
the
channel
olive.
member. So.
Bring out the olive. Bring out the olive.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
I love it. So good.
No, they didn't add anything back to Wizards and Glass. That was post The Stand, where they're just like, everyone wants more Stephen King.
Yeah, at some point they couldn't go near him with a red pen, and so everything is like just super long, and it's like some of this could be cut down.
Well, the thing is I don't even know if that's him. Like, I think I you know, like I can't imagine if an editor came to him and said, "Hey, think this needs to be reworked a little." I can't imagine him actually being a dick about it. What I more see happening is the powers that be like, just let him write. We'll make money either way. It doesn't matter. Don't waste your day. And it's like that's the sort of thing that like I've read a few independent, finger quote, independent novels as of late that are self-published basically through like smaller presses. And the whole like editors are overrated, y'all. They are not.
No.
Like I've read some really bad books and like
necessary.
and when you go on Twitter or Threads or whatever, it's like you see the writers melting down because they got a bad review on Goodreads. And the review is basically like, this book needs to be edited. And then the writer's melting down and they're like, that's so gatekeeping. Like, I can't afford an editor. And like, you're trying to gatekeep writing. And it's like, we're trying to like make sure that you're not wasting my time with a bad book, girl. Like,
yeah.
Pay a good editor to help you edit this. Like, you know, and then I go and look, and some of these authors have published like 15 books in 5 years, and I'm like, girl, you clearly are. Just because you can hit a word count doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, now I have the book talk girlies mad at me, but that's okay. Per the last book I read, you don't know the difference between you and your, so. I will win every argument. Because that's all you have to reply anymore is your correctly spelled. But yeah, I don't know. Like, anyway, we're not talking a lot about Barbie, guys, but That's the joy of having Janessa here.
You never know what's gonna come up. You never know.
Misery was the most faithful. It's pretty good. My favorite, I think Firestarter and Carrie are my two favorite, and Christine. I think those three are not only faithful, but also Cujo also. I actually like, they changed the ending of the book Cujo for the movie, and I prefer the movie ending to the book ending. So, spoiler alert, Tad does not survive the book. And if you don't know that before you read it and you're 12 and you have a crush on Danny Pintaro. Anyway, I should have figured that one out sooner. Anyway, yeah, the character does not survive the book like he does the movie, so that's a shocker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of the early adaptations like are a lot better than people want to give them credit. Firestarter is almost exactly adapted. And they compress a couple characters, which is fine. You have to do that sometimes. But yeah, I would say probably Carrie, the changes in Carrie also make sense for like adapting a book to a movie based on what De Palma's budget was. Yeah, and he added that jump scare at the end, which is essentially why we have jump scares in every movie now at the ending.
So Carrie is probably my favorite Stephen King book. And people shit on the remake, but one thing that I think they did a little bit better in the remake is that Carrie is very different in the book than she is in the movie. Because Carrie's figuring it out. Like Carrie is figuring out that like whatever this power is, whatever this thing that's happening to her, she starts to figure out like I could use this to hurt people. Like the way that people hurt me. And so in the book, when the pig's blood drops on her, she like leaves the prom and she's going home and she's stewing and she's raging. And then she's like, no, fuck them people. And she goes back to the prom and then kills everybody. And so in the original, like, Sissy Spacek is wonderful. She's phenomenal, but she plays it as if she's just like a victim who's out of control. Like like Carrie makes a choice, and her choice is to go and punish those people. And that's the one thing that I think the remake did a little bit better is they still did it right at the prom, but they made it more of like Carrie making a choice.
And I think that in the book, Carrie is not, I don't even want to say a perfect victim. She's like, she's ambiguous at times. Like she's not perfect.
Yeah.
She's not, there are times in the book where you kind of are annoyed with her. So it's like it makes more sense to me in the book. And also she becomes a villain in the book because she makes that choice. She's walking away, she's leaving. She makes the choice to go back and kill everybody. And I remember I read the book before. I think I read the book first. It's a little hazy, like, that was like 1984, 85, guys. But I do remember recognizing the difference whichever order I read them in. And I like the book better for that reason. De Palma's movie is great. It's a great adaptation. It's a good movie. I rewatch it regularly. But I do prefer Carrie where she's not just a martyr. She's not, they bully her through the whole movie and she snaps. I prefer the Carrie where it's like they bully her, they do this terrible thing, she escapes and then makes the choice to do the bad thing.
Yeah, to come back.
And it's, and I think it's also important, like in the book, more people escape the prom. One of the things I dislike about the movie is Miss Collins, Betty Buckley's character, Miss Desjardins in the book.
Oh, yeah.
And additions, because in the book she survives, and in the movie they kill her. And again, like that's the one villainous thing, in my opinion, Carrie does in the movie, where she purposely kills her.
Yeah.
And when she was really the only one who did any kindness. And in the movie, it's really clear that not everyone is laughing at Carrie. It's in her head. In the book, they are all laughing at her. So, but again, she escapes and then comes back. So like, I don't know. It's one of my favorite things about the differences between the two, because there's this really good conversation to be had.
Yeah.
I think what I just sort of some of the discourse I dislike in this day and age is, because they're doing another remake, and they've gotten, she's too pretty to be Carrie. When are we going to get an ugly Carrie? And it's just sort of interesting to me, because it's like, don't you guys realize that people used to talk about how ugly Sissy Spacek was? Like,
Yeah.
our current standards, Sissy Spacek is a beautiful woman, but back then, like, people did not consider her pretty. Like, one of the reasons she won that role was because she was an finger quote unconventional beauty. Like,
Yeah.
she beat out Carrie Fisher, and her were down to the wire for that one. Like, Carrie Fisher, Lucas and De Palma cast Star Wars and Carrie at the same time. We almost got Amy Irving as Princess Leia and Carrie Fisher as Carrie. Like,
Yeah.
and William Catt was in the running at one point for Luke Skywalker. So like, those two movies could have looked completely different, but I think part of why we got Sissy Spacek is she's finger quote an unconventional beauty, which is a nice way of calling somebody ugly in the 70s. So
Yeah.
not to interrupt the kids, and like, we need an ugly Carrie. Like, Sissy Spacek was considered ugly, you guys.
No, she
Like,
was definitely Carrie.
this is how much our society has changed since the 70s, that she's now considered beautiful and like conventionally attractive. And it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's just there's that nuance that we often lose in sort of modern conversations where nobody is correcting it. It's like, y'all, they used to make fun of how ugly it's like Margot Kidder. They used to make fun of how ugly Margot Kidder was. It was that whole joke. What's the name of Superman's dog? Margot Kidder. Like, Margot Kidder is gorgeous, but they used to make fun of her for being finger quote ugly because she was unconventionally attractive at the time.
Yeah.
So
I also thought that the way that they did Mrs. White's death in the book just makes so much more sense, because like in the movie, I get that the whole putting her up as if she's on a cross with knives, like that makes sense thematically. But in the book, it's very creepy, because basically Carrie just like sits with her mother and she's talking to her and she's like, I can see your heart, mother, and I can see it slowing down. And she uses her power to like stop her mother's heart while she's telling her it's happening. Like, it's so chilling and creepy. And again, it's much more of her like having agency.
Yeah, and the crucifixion in the movie is like matches that statue that's in the closet with her.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. And it's not, yeah, I don't, I mean, I think the special effects of that scene is what is, like visually that works much better than the book version of that. The version of that that's in the book works, and I got cinematic versus.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's also weird to think that Piper Laurie and Sissy Spacek were only like 10 years apart in age.
Yeah.
But I think that's just the glory of Piper Laurie as an actress, was that like she made Margaret White appear 1,000 years old when really she was like maybe 36.
Yeah.
Like, she was so good in that role. Like,
oh yeah.
We're all gonna laugh at you. I can see your dirty
pillows.
Yeah, no, Margaret White. I grew up in an evangelical family, and like, she was not overacting, y'all. I have Pentecostal members of my family who sound just like Margaret White when they talk, when they get outraged. You're gonna burn in hell.
Yeah, I mean, I've met her. Like that was so
Yeah, no,
realistic. I've
I
met
have.
crazy
I got
religious
cousins.
people.
I've got cousins who are Margaret White. Like pitch perfect. Uh, 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 uh. Oh, really quick. Hello, Helen. Lovely to see you. Thank you. Yeah, Barbie
Hello.
is um really quick. Helen, for those watching, follow her back to her channel. For those who are here for coloring content, Helen does tutorials on how to do really cool things with color pencils and markers, as well as has an entire series of books that are really good. So go check her out. I've got a
Oh,
few of your books, Helen. I just at some point I will show those on screen. She does good stuff. Especially as I explore alcohol markers. So yeah,
I am
it's
not a
really,
good colorer, so this is.
you do all right. You do. I don't. Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
We're getting a
Uh,
little bit.
No,
It's a little sloppy, but we're having fun.
you're doing good. You always do well. Like again, as I say when you guys come on here, it's not about being able to do the magic tricks. It's about having fun with it. If you want to do the magic tricks, go buy Helen's book, y'all. Um, yeah, I've got she has many, but I've got like the first two. So I need to get the marker one now that I have some markers. But anyway, go check her stuff out. Oh, you're most welcome. Like you've helped me learn how to do some stuff that I would never have figured out how to do without your tutorials and your books. So thank you. And then we almost missed Rhea, our Ray Black.
Hello.
Thank you for popping in. I
Hello,
hope you're having a
hello.
great day. She is up in Canada. Helen's also over in England, if I remember correctly. Somewhere on the British Isles. I don't want to assume. She may have a lovely house in Scotland for all I know. But she is over the pond. So we're international today, Janessa.
I love it. Yes, it's our
Look
world
at that.
tour of coloring.
Well, it's Barbie. Barbie has been around the world.
That's right.
But yeah, so yeah, so anyway, y'all, Carrie's basic was not conventionally attractive. So anyone's like, we need an ugly Carrie, like y'all. I mean, maybe we could get one that people consider ugly now, and in 20 years she'll be attractive because she was in a movie where she got to be attractive. So.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird thing. And it's like, when they say that, my thought is always, who judges what makes her ugly? I think they're like, we want ugly and fat. And it's like, let's not ask Hollywood to pick what they think a fat woman is to be in your little
Yeah.
movie. Put Sydney Sweeney in there as Carrie. Like, look how fat she is, you guys. It's like, no.
That's right. She had a big breakfast.
She had a big breakfast. Look at her cortisol belly. So yeah, let's not let Hollywood decide what. Let's not tell them like we need a fat woman because we don't want them to see what they think fat is.
Bring in the size sixes.
Yeah, we don't need a repeat of the 90s and the 80s where we all had the eating disorders. And we're subsisting on air and spite. I'm like, come on, guys.
America's Next Top Carrie.
Yeah,
You want to be on top?
Oh, God. She's Devon. See, that's a beautiful part of England. So not only is she coming in from England, but it's one of the lovely parts of England. Said as an American who's only ever seen England through television and pictures, but It's one of the places when I get over there I want to visit. So
I've only seen the airport.
you've been, oh my God, that's way more across the ocean than I have been.
I went to Ireland for work, and so I got to stop through Heathrow and have sushi in the airport.
That sounds very apropos. Like sushi in the Heathrow airport. No, that's one of the countries when I finally do my tour and I finally go overseas, I want to start in England and hit Scotland, Ireland, and then I want to go over and see Germany, Italy, Sweden, and Switzerland. I sometimes forget those are separate countries because, again, American school systems, y'all. And then Greek. I want to go to Greece and hang out on an island for a while, just eating olives. Eating olives and drinking great, like Greek wine. So it'd be fun. But that is the goal. And like 8 to 10 years when it's time to retire. Do the tour. Probably France because I took 4 years of French in elementary school and I need to go find out where Monique is. I know how to say my name and ask where is Monique in French. So I need to go find out and have some pastries.
I took 1 semester of French and I was not very good at it. And I had taken 2 years of German in high school. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if we hadn't learned the word yet in German, I would just... Oops. If we had... Sorry, I blacked out for a second there. If we didn't know the word in French, sometimes I would just slip in a German word without realizing it to finish the sentence. And so every once in a while, my professor would look at me kind of strange. And then I was like, what? I don't know what's going on. And then I would realize that I just thrown in with was the big one. Because I always wanted to say, I don't know, with the vocabulary, you never learned anything that was too useful. And I always wanted to say that people were doing things with me. And so, and we didn't learn avec till like chapter 4. And so I would always say mit moi. I would just say mit moi. And then not even think about it. And he would always look at me a little crosswise. And eventually he was like, you do know that's not a French word, right? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not aware, but thank you.
See, if I go to Germany, I know how to say, wo ist das Bibliothek? So, where is the library? Yep. Ich wohne gleich die Ecke, which means I live right around the corner. And wo ist Monica? Where is Monica? So I'm set.
Where is Monica?
Oh. Wie hat viele Glück, which means we have much luck. So, and I'll be able to order food. So I'm set. Oh, wait. Das ist nicht deinen Bratwurst. That's not your Bratwurst. So that's if I go to the club with my boyfriend. Das ist nicht deinen Bratwurst. Ho. I think ho is how you would say it in German, right? Anyway.
Yeah, ho. Schlampe. That's if you want to call someone a slut. Schlampe.
Moby's wife. Is that German?
Yeah.
Moby's wife. Poor Moby. Oh, nice. I'm trying to remember this outfit from memory. I think I'm close. It's one of the rocker outfits that they gave her. I know the skirt was hot pink and the boots were purple. And then there's like a yellow sash, but I can't remember the rest of it.
Oh, related. Hold on. Let me grab it. I have it here in the office. So my friend Angie, my best friend Angie, she's so crafty, and I recently did my Barbie collection update, and I showed off this Barbie and the Rockers fashion that I had gotten because it's so
Oh,
ridiculous. It's like a
is that what
purple shirt with the big Ken face on it.
Oh no. Yeah, let's see it.
So there was a whole thing, and so Angie made me my own version of that shirt.
Oh
So let me
no.
grab it.
Excellent. Let's do it. Okay, there it is. Yeah, that was what often got, like, in class I was fine with, but in real life everyone speaks so fast. So what I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years to prepare for your as I've been watching movies from France and Germany without subtitles and just with them talking so that I'm used to the cadence. So the goal is in a year or two when I start actually taking some language courses, I will be able to pick up faster because I've been listening to it. And that may not work, but I've seen some really interesting French and German movies. So their cinema is very different from ours.
So here is Ken.
Oh my goodness. That is Ken.
I
Oh,
It's
wow.
so funny because the Rockers, that was that like Rod Stewart Ken with the like
Yeah.
blonde rooted hair.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that like so they did a whole outfit that is a picture of Ken's face with like red pants and red shoes. And Barbie's not even the one wearing it. They put it on Dana. They were like,
Oh,
so Barbie, supposedly that's her boyfriend, and then Dana's just running around with like a t-shirt of Ken's face.
Dana's
It's
just
so
like, hey, you
stupid.
guys, have you seen this celebrity? Look.
I love it.
What's interesting, because I've been going through the Barbie and the Rockers coloring book, obviously, but like the origin story of how Barbie joins the Rockers is in this first coloring book, and then they kind of change it in a few other places. But what's interesting though is there's an implication before they added Ken to the Rockers that Barbie and Derek might sort of be a couple.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
I had seen that because he's not in the first wave. It's just Derek.
It's just Derek, and this particular coloring book, it almost implies that Derek is in a love triangle with Dee Dee and Diva, and then there's a second coloring book after this where Barbie and Derek are hugging whenever they get invited to be in the big. They're invited to be on in this big show, and they're in the tour bus. And Derek and Barbie and throughout that one are like dancing together. There's no Ken at all in that coloring. In this coloring book, Ken shows up because he's working at the record company. So he at the end of the story shows up to give Barbie a gold record. But but in this one it's implied that Derek is in a love triangle or a throuple, as we call them now, with Dee Dee and Diva.
I love it.
And then in the second coloring book, Barbie and Derek are sort of a couple-ish. And then in the third one, I think, is when Ken joins the band. And so, yeah,
And
it's been really interesting, sort of the mythology of it all, if you will.
yeah,
Because they threw it together so quickly to compete with Jem. And I think that's why the Barbie and Derek are sort of implied at first to be a couple, because um, Jem and Rio. Because Derek
yeah.
is also, whether people realize it or not, Hispanic. So, and Rio was Hispanic. So, like, they literally just, like, Kimber, who has red hair, you've got Diva, who has red hair, you've got Aja, who is Asian for Gem and the Holograms, Dana is Asian, and then, of course, Dee Dee and Shauna are both African American because of the time of history it was. And so yeah, like Literally, the first wave of dolls is just ripping off completely.
Yeah.
They were allegedly really surprised by the Misfits because they didn't realize that there were villains.
Yeah.
So, because if they had, we would have probably gotten Midge and the Square Dancers or something as the
Yeah.
enemy band. Midge is back and she's pissed.
Well, but that's the thing is that like that's the funny thing about the makeup of that band is that all of those dolls are like existing characters, but they just have new names because Diva is totally Midge. She's got like the Midge face and the Midge hair.
Yep, the only one who has a new face sculpt is Derek.
Yeah. And Dee Dee is Christy, and Dana is Miko, and
yeah, it was real, and it's sort of interesting that they chose to just do whole new characters. I never understood why they all had D names because it's not anything like it before or after in Barbie mythos. So, Thank you so much, Helen, for popping in. I appreciate you. Have a great night as well. Tell your sister we said hello.
Have a great night.
I bet they are. Well, Barbie and Ken are brother. Going back to Flowers in the Attic, Barbie and Ken are actually brother and sister because Barbie is based on Barbara Handler, and Ken is based on her brother Ken Handler. The Misfits songs are better. So, yeah, they've only done the 3 updated. They haven't done Diva or Derek yet. All right. You finished one? Sorry, you held it up. I'm begging you.
Well, I didn't want to have to try to find a whole different like outfit color for him, so I decided she had a ghost chauffeur.
There we go. That works.
We made him a spirit.
I mean, she is going dancing with the apostrophe.
Dancing.
Also, really quick, yes, Adam of Highly Articulated will be here with me at some point in October to color, and we're probably going to be talking about his soon-to-be crowdfund toy line, Space Zombies from Mars. I think I said that right. My brain, you guys. But yeah, no, Adam will be here. So, and if all goes well, we will be coloring some Space Zombies from Mars stuff. So.
Fun.
Yeah, so check it out, y'all, when it happens. Yeah. Also, I think he's streaming. He just finished his stream, so normally we don't compete, but again, as I mentioned earlier, y'all, Janessa had fabulous things this morning, and we are
That's
overdue.
right. I messed up the schedule.
It worked out because I needed to go run an errand this morning. So it worked out that I, 1, got to sleep in, and 2, could go run my errand after sleeping in. So
yeah, I did not get to sleep in. I was up at 8:30 in the morning on the Lord's Day to start painting this clown face on.
And that's like 6:30 a.m. my time. That's horrible. The Geneva Convention has laws against that, Janessa.
I know. Don't they know that drag queens are nocturnal creatures?
Yep. Laura Branigan wrote a whole song about you guys.
Yeah.
As she lived among you guys.
Yeah.
Among you ladies, let me rephrase that. I don't want to misgender the drag queens of the world. But yeah, I went on a really bad date one time when I lived in Austin. And this is when we had phones. This is before text messaging. It wasn't as easy to ghost either if you had roommates, because they would call your house because we didn't all have cell phones. And if your roommate answered and didn't know you didn't want to talk to that person again, they would be like, oh yeah, Allison's here. Let me get her. And he was like, we should go on a second date. And I was like, the Geneva Convention says I don't need to do that.
Yeah, maybe we don't.
That would be a crime against humanity.
How about we just don't?
And then he dated one of my roommates. It was one of the ones I didn't like. She gave them crabs, which is what they both deserved.
Yeah, I mean, she was trying to be a sister.
Yeah. And then they dated almost that whole summer though, so good for them. The two most unlikable people in my life at that time found each other. I love a good romantic story. They did not get married though, so that's not, they didn't get that happy of an ending.
Yeah.
She raises dogs now. Purebred puppies. And we love that for her. It makes her really happy.
So I decided for the third picture, I moved on to colored pencils, and these colored pencils from Five Below are garbage. So
well, you know, it happens. But they're from Five Below, so you spent like what, $5-6 on them?
Yeah, $5.
There you go. See, I recently did, and the video is up. It's the Color Neon pencil set. I spent $20, and those pencils were trash. Those pencils made me so mad, you guys. They were the worst things I've ever experienced. And they just were terrible. They didn't work on any of the paper I used or any of the books, and I was very mad. I was so mad that somebody in the comments was like, "I'm sorry you had such a bad time with these pencils," and I'm like, well, I got my point across. But anyway, they could be worse. I'll send you this Color Neon pencil set, and you can see how bad it could be. But yeah. Now, Five Below, I buy stuff from Five Below. We don't have one close, so I have to like order it. So I end up spending $50 to $60 when I order Five Below. But I have found some good jumbo coloring books. You know, they're on terrible paper, but I scan most stuff anyway to print it out on nicer paper.
Yeah.
And they do the teeny tinies, which are perfect for those of us who like doing dioramas. Once I get all of my strawberry shortcake stuff set up, thanks to teeny tinies, they are going to be tricked out.
Yeah, I love Five Below. It is my favorite place to buy plastic crap. I am here for it.
So yeah, the thing is I use most of the art supplies that's why that pencil set made me so mad, because I use or some of the better stuff. I have a friend who's a teacher, so I'll give her extra sets or stuff I have that I'm not going to use again, so that she can use them in her classroom, or give them if she has an artist in her class that like his family doesn't, or her family doesn't have a lot of money, like she can send them home with some art supplies. So they don't go to waste. But it's frustrating because when I buy, so I don't, like I've never bought anything specifically to make a video of it. Sometimes I say, well, if I buy this, I can make a video, but it's because I want it.
Yeah.
I'm like, she does, yeah. Yeah, I've never bought anything specifically to make a video. I really want that thing. If I make a video with it, I can claim it on taxes. And then I might get a little money back from the government. And then whenever Matt says, like, you got another giant box in the mail, I'm like, yeah, that's for a video.
Yeah.
It's
work stuff.
It's work stuff. I'm going to open all of those toys and put them in a video. The most low effort video I can do. Because I want to share them with people, but I want to open these toys really quickly. I just finished mine. So let me unbiggen that really quickly. There we go.
Yay. Oh, it's so cute.
There we go. And if I turn it, you can see the glitter gel pen for Diva's jacket. So, and let's see, we're an hour and 30 we've got enough time for me. I won't finish another one. There's enough time for me to start to work on something. And we'll do the other side with the old man. His 32-year-old senior citizen from 1986.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, ladies, welcome to the studio. Ain't y'all pretty? Sweetheart. He's probably called Barbie sweetheart 17 times during the course
Yeah.
of the video shoot. And I bet he told Dee Dee at least once, like, wow, you really are articulated.
Yeah.
You speak really well. Anyway. Racism
I
is
just
bad.
got to the I just got to the very special episode of Facts of Life where Blair finds out that her grandfather had been in the Ku Klux Klan,
Oh
and
my
so she
God.
starts being really nice to Tootie.
Oh, I remember that. I remember all the ones with Cousin Jerry.
Jerry, yep.
I loved Cousin Jerry. I sort of miss the concept of a very special episode. I feel like not enough shows actually do them because I'm not gonna lie, in the 80s, I feel like we learned in the 90s. I feel like we learned a lot in the original very special episodes. I will say I feel like Blossom in the 90s took a little too far.
Yeah. I loved a very special episode. I love that they took the time to like tell you that like I know you think we're just like frivolous crap, but we're gonna talk about something serious.
Yeah, I do miss that about TV now, right? I mean, like it is, I don't mind so much that we don't get like 30,000 episodes of TV shows. You know, like most of the things we got like 22 episodes of back in the day. We did not need 22 episodes of.
Yeah.
But I will say I do miss, you know, sometimes those were the best episodes. Like, you know, that random one-off episode in the middle of the season where it's like it doesn't tie, yeah, especially like with shows like Heart to Heart. Like you would get like a couple mid-range, middle of the season shows that weren't to be continued that were just technically throwaways, and it would just be really like fun and good.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't necessarily get, now that everything's an event, you get 12 episodes and like each of those episodes has to move story and spotlight a whole ass character.
Yeah.
And like I kind of miss the fact that sometimes shows would have a finger quote throwaway episode where it's like, let's go to New York and meet Stacy Q, girls. That is coming up in a season of Facts of Life, by the way, where we meet Natalie's friend Stacy. I don't know if she's Stacy Q in the TV show, although she sings all the hits of Stacy Q. But yeah, I miss, you know, like there was the episode of Who's the Boss where like, you know, randomly like, let's do a spin-off episode where it's like we're gonna try to set up Leah Remy and these other people in a teen modeling agency in New York. Like I sort of miss backdoor pilots, and like One Day at a Time, I rewatched that like 2 or 3 years ago, and there were like 30 backdoor pilot episodes in One Day at a Time that none of them ever got made. Such a good show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know how they picked the very special episodes because so the very special episode was when Blair finds out that her grandfather was in the KKK. Obviously a heavy topic, not super light and fluffy, but like just a couple episodes before that, they introduced this new character and she's like running against Blair for the student council presidency, and then Blair loses, but then the girl kills herself, and I was like, that's not a very special episode. Like that didn't need a warning.
Right. Well, you know, it was the 80s. Like that one probably
it was wild.
That one was probably meant to be a very special episode, and they didn't label it properly, because there was like that period in the 80s where every show had a character who was like committed suicide, and it was just like, whoa, like
Yeah.
da, da, da. Right? Oh, yeah, Brenda Dickinson. You're gonna record this and I'm gonna sell this on the internet, little doggy. Devin Green has done much in this world that is like amazing, and her voiceovers over this Welcome to My Home by Brenda Dickinson is high among the gifts that that woman has given us.
Yeah.
I remember finding that in the that's been probably, God, that's been a long time, Andrew, since I first found that on the internet, on the YouTubes. And she has over the years gotten that one copyright stricken so many times, and every time she does it pops up on 5 more channels. You can't stop it. You can't stop it, Brenda Dickinson.
That's right.
No matter how much you want to try, the people demand welcome. Welcome to my home. My old fuzzy mimosa. My rusty moose knuckle. That's such a good one. Yeah, what's funny that I'm so glad Andrew knows this, because before Andrew, like, I would quote that video or make references to it and nobody would know what the hell I was talking about. Also, the real Brenda Dickinson is on Instagram. And either the parody was really good or she has been leaning into it in recent years. I will send you a reel next time it crops up. So
Yeah.
it's wild. And she has a filter that she uses, and she uses it on when she shows an old clip from Y&R, she puts the filter on her face in the old clip. Which is why at first I wasn't sure if it was actually really her or somebody parodying, but it's definitely her. So I will send you some of those, because it has to be seen to be believed.
Oh, and I also really loved for Andrew, the Canadian. So now people think they know about this because there's been more like Americanized versions or whatever, but I grew up 14 miles from the border to Canada, and so we got like Canadian television and American television, and so I grew up on Degrassi Junior High. I was all about that Degrassi Junior High life, and I loved that, like, in the afternoon, Marsha on the Brady Bunch couldn't go to the prom because she got hit in the face with a football and her nose was swollen and she looked ridiculous. And then at night we would go over to, is it CBC? And we would watch Degrassi Junior High, and it would be like, Spike can't go to the prom because she's pregnant. And I was like, we were not ready for the dose of reality that we got from Degrassi. But then it would be like things like that where like this kid got molested and this kid, but then the other part of the episode would be like, Caitlin's mad at her mom because she wouldn't buy her lip gloss. And I was like, what is happening?
That's what life is like, y'all.
Oh, I love Degrassi.
Yeah. That's one of those ones where it's like so many of the people that are famous from Canada were on that at one point or another.
Yeah.
I used to watch on Nickelodeon 15, which was another Canadian soap opera with a very young Ryan Reynolds. And I remember the main couple was Ashley, who was Ryan Reynolds' older sister. She went on to she was in The Faculty. And when I did extra work on that movie, I saw her on set. And I was like, oh my God, you were Ashley, right? And she's like, yes. She was like, yes. Yes. I'm like, oh, I guess she does not like being reminded that she was Ashley on 15. My bad. And then right after that, I insulted Piper Laurie.
Oh, no.
You know that big scarf she wears in The Faculty?
Yeah.
So between scenes, between filming, she fussed with it the whole time. She was like constantly like moving it around and I was just like, do you not like the scarf? Do they need to get you? And I was like, girl, you are famous. You need a better one. You are Mrs. White. And she was like, of course I like it. And then turned and stomped off. And I'm like, oops. And the next day I was not an extra in that. I was not an extra in that scene the next day. I was an extra in the scene the day after I insulted Ashley. So we know who had pull on that set, Robert Rodriguez. It was not Ashley. Piper. I was just like trying to be helpful. Like, you should go get a better one if you don't like it. It's probably the only thing she stole from the set.
Yeah.
Probably loved the scarf. She was probably in her mind trying to figure out how she was going to get it off set. So, anyway. R.I.P. Piper Laurie.
Yeah.
You could not see my dirty pillows that day, but I would have flashed them to you if you had asked.
Right, if you just asked.
Just so you could say, I can see your dirty pillows. I forget I did extra work in the 90s. It was a crazy time. It all feels like a dream because, you know, the 90s.
Yeah,
I
it
did
feels
a
like
lot.
a bad dream.
I did way more substances back then of all varieties. I had recently discovered a delicacy in Texas called the Mexican martini, which is like a martini, but instead of vodka, it's tequila.
Ooh.
And instead of vermouth, it's triple sec and
Oh,
then orange
yeah.
juice. So it's like a margarita, basically. And
Yeah.
I could knock down at my peak. I could do like 10 of those in a night. So, and they brought and when I say 10 of them, I mean the shaker, because they brought the shaker to your table, and the shaker had like 2 martini glasses worth. So I could do 10 of the shakers, which is essentially 20 martini glasses. One night, the bartender lady tried to cut me off.
Too much tequila for me.
Well, you know, I was in my 20s. In your 20s, you can do that much tequila, especially in Austin because it's hot. You sweat it out.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. You can drink differently in the South than you can in other places because if you're running between bar to bar, you sweat half of it out. So,
yeah.
That's what people don't get when they're like, oh my God, look how much these kids are drinking. It's like, but they're dancing all night. When you're sweating that much, like half of that alcohol isn't even getting metabolized because you're just sweating it out, guys. It's fine. The kids have their beverages. I
had a wild 20th. I had a wild 20th birthday in Winnipeg, and I cannot do tequila since then.
And that's the thing, though, with tequila. Everyone, not me, has that story why they can't drink it anymore. I never got sick off of tequila.
Oh.
Luckily. I did get sick one time. I made my mom's famous garbage can punch, which is 2 giant jugs of Welch's grape or the store brand, like 7 to 8 different the little frozen fruit can things.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of those. 2 bottles of vodka, and you make this in a garbage can. You buy a brand new plastic trash can for this. You don't use the one in the house that you've hosed out. You get a fresh one.
Yeah.
2 giant gallon bottles of vodka, an entire bottle of triple sec, and half a bottle of Everclear. And then you mix it up, and then you drink it.
We had something similar. It was called Jungle Juice.
Yeah, Jungle Juice is pretty close. It's kind of like if you took Jungle Juice and mixed it with Purple Passion. And there you go.
Yeah, because we would do it in a trash can, and you would get Hawaiian Punch instead of the grape. And then basically you would everybody would bring whatever booze they had, and everybody just poured all their collective booze in together, and then a bunch of cut up fruit, and that was the jungle juice.
That was it. Yeah.
It was bad news bears.
Yeah, I mean, I look back at it and I'm like, a lot of us are really lucky we survived the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
I remember driving around in the summer with like a cooler full of Bartles and James and Seagram's wine coolers.
Oh, Zima. Do you remember Zima?
I remember Zima. Yeah.
Oh,
And it's like, it's what Crystal Pepsi wishes it had been.
yeah. I mean, I could fuck up a Zima. Like I'm getting gut rot just thinking about it. But
Yeah, it's funny. I never had to go to meetings. I didn't have that kind of a drinking problem, but like there are a couple times in life where I got really extreme, and it's like now New Year's Eve I have some champagne. For my birthday I have some champagne. Otherwise, every so often, like if I go out to dinner when I'm up in Portland with friends, I'll have like a martini, vodka, extra dirty, 2 olives, as you do. As I tell the waiter / bartender, the only thing dirtier than that martini in this room is me.
yeah.
That's the instruction. But otherwise, as I get older, I don't have the stomach or the head for it. I get instant hangovers almost all the time. If I try to have anything more than like some champagne or a couple martinis. If I look too hard at red wine, I'm going to have a headache. It's just, I don't know. It's like you're old, you can't do it. And it's fine. I partied hard in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, the 2015s. Yeah, at some point.
I want to know. I hadn't looked at this too closely. I've decided to make her midge. I made her a redhead, but I don't know who this like lesbian icon is in this. With her like pleated golf pants and her polo and her lesbian mullet pulled back into like a little bow.
I think she's just random. My thought when I saw her in the book was that was Jerry Blank from Strangers with Candy.
Yeah.
So, she is pretty iconic though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Barbie, of course she's hanging out with lesbians because she wants to have an orgasm and her boyfriend's gay. So
well, Ken is also smooth down there, so like good luck.
Yeah.
Poor Ken. But everyone remembers Zima. No. The pale white shadow high doll's name is Zima.
Oh no.
Somebody let their copyright trademark lapse and Mattel snapped it up. No, wait, I think Shadow High is MGA. They probably own the company that used to make Zima, and they're like, we're gonna lose this trademark if we don't use it. Let's use it for a doll. Also, okay, yeah, no, I got the rowdy. How are you today, Riley? Are you having a good day?
Hi.
Oh wow, we're almost done, Janessa.
Yeah.
Almost 2. Well, actually, we're right at the 2-hour mark, so we should wrap it. So I did not finish this 32-year-old ancient man, but I did finish this side of the page. So yeah, picture it. These 2 pages go together. He's like, "Hey, sweetheart, we're gonna make your video today."
Yeah.
Some sweet legs you got on, some sweet gams. Anyway, I don't know why. Anyway, whoever the artist on this is probably the artist of the book self-insert. So. All right, really quickly, I'm going to embiggen you, Janessa, so that you can show all of your pages.
Yeah,
oh,
so
that
we
came out
did.
really.
So peaches and cream became key lime pie. We did that instead. We made it very green. Gave her big drag queen hooker makeup and overlined her lips, and she looks like a goddamn mess. And then we have the neon Danceteria Blair Warner Barbie going in there. And then we have, this is the colored pencils that were not very great, but we got some little outfits done. We gave him a jumpsuit. He also does not have a butt. Like, it's very sad. Very sad.
It's not.
So that's how I got that.
CJ approves of the green. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah, green is my favorite color. So I was like, let's give her a sparkly green gown.
And then what do you have coming up on your channel?
What do I have coming up on my channel? So I do live streams on Wednesday nights, and we usually do a theme for the month. For September, we are doing the 7 sexy sins. So it's going to be all 5 Wednesdays, plus there's like 2 random Fridays. They're all pre-scheduled on my channel, so you can see them on the live tab. But we are doing looks inspired by the 7 deadly sins, and specifically inspired by the Living Dead Dolls Series 7, 7 Deadly Sins. So we're going to do 7 different looks inspired by that series of dolls. And then October, we're doing Glam Light and Gore, where we have then we're doing Glam Light and Gore, which is beautiful, glamorous looks inspired by glam light horror palettes. So we're gonna have some Halloween, some Friday the 13th, some Chucky, Saw, a bunch of fun stuff.
That sounds right up my alley as a horror fan.
Yeah, and then December 1st is my 25th anniversary. I've scheduled it way out in advance. December 1st is my 25th anniversary as a performer. And so we're going to have it's a Tuesday, so I'm not going to be doing like a show somewhere. So I was like, let's have a live stream hangout and do some makeup and celebrate 25 years of this clownery.
That's awesome. Like, it's a long time, but also not a long time, but also really cool. So
yeah.
Really quick, for those who do not follow Janessa, you should. I'm gonna put the link to your channel in the chat. There's also a link should be a link in the description. So if you're in replay crew, and you've made it this far through our tomfoolery, give Janessa a follow, because you do toys, makeup, drag, which is separate than it's just, if you like Janessa Jaye, this is literally all of your stuff. So it's a personality channel.
Yes, Glam, Geek, and Gore.
There we are. So yeah, check it out. Please do. Actually, Janessa, you are one of my favorite people on the internet. And
thank you.
Through the weirdness of the internet and how the connections work, I found you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Golden Girl.
Yes, thank you, Golden Girl.
I Google Golden Girl every so often trying to find info. And Janessa, and I'm like, that bitch bought my playset. No, just kidding. I did not have the money for the playset that day. Better you than some other hoe.
That's right.
It would be with my enemy from my old roommate who dated the loser. She also has. No, just kidding. Also tomorrow on the channel, I did the Crayola marker airbrush gun. I didn't call it that in the description or in the video itself, so YouTube doesn't flag it as violence. But there's a video for that. Check that out. I did a couple pages, and it was one of the most fun videos I've had, making in a while. This week there are shorts for Miss Pac-Man, Strawberry Shortcake, Care Bears, and then Friday will be Clawful, Vintage Cardback, and Color and Chill. Next Saturday, everybody will be able to watch everything I opened in August. That will go live for channel members on Wednesday as an early bonus. Thank you for watching. I will not be here next Sunday. I am going to go to Portland for a few days. I have a friend who is in a pretty severe accident, and I'm going to go up to, he's out of the hospital, so I'm going to go hang out and visit with him in person for a few days, because we could have lost him. And so I'm going to go do that next week. So I will be missing the stream. But I'll be here the rest of the month, and I'll have scheduling for what's up once that happens. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Oh, really quick. Yes, it was.
Yes.
If you rewatch the first 5 to 10 minutes, Todd, it's right there. That's the good Todd, everyone. Not the Todd McFarlane who ruins toys, but the good Todd. The good Todd.
Good Todd.
Good Todd. Yeah, exactly. People love a good drama. People will watch it for the drama. Thank you. As am I, CJ. As am I. Anyway, on that note, we should go. And tying it all back to the beginning, we're going to let Phoebe Cates take us out, y'all.
I haven't made up my mind yet. Incidentally, which one of you bitches is my mother?